Welcome to the Good Games Podcast, episode number 155. This is the show, of course, where we talk about video games and video game-related things. I am your host this week, Alex Nunez, and as usual, I am joined by Mr. Khalik Dorset. How's everything, man?
It's great. There's this huge week, this beautiful week. This is the greatest time of the year. It's Christmas for us. It's E3.
So much is going on. Yes, E3 is upon us.
It is fantastic. While I'm not enjoying the New York, New Jersey weather, by the way, it's pretty hot, but we don't have to get into that.
It's what you would call the scorcher.
Yeah, it's supposed to cool down soon. However, I must digress. Like, there's been so much news going on that I'm still finding stuff out. But I think we got a pretty hold on all the big stuff. I think we got most of it. But it's been crazy. Honestly,
it's been nonstop. Yeah.
Like, I thought, for myself at least, that the way E3 works these days, that all the conferences are going to be the first few days, that it's going to be a slower trickle as the days go on. But no, not really. It just never stops. It just never stops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially now, because like this year now, they started like doing press conferences another day ahead of time. So now Saturday's stuff is happening, and even then, it's just like what? It's just too much. It's too much, and especially for me, because I've got so much stuff going on, which I don't want to discuss. But real life is in the way, and I haven't even had a chance to fully watch all of the press conferences. I think you haven't seen all of them either, but we have pretty good wrap-ups from places such as US Gamer, who has like links to all the trailers and stuff that we're going to discuss. So thankfully, we can talk somewhat knowledgeably on a lot of the stuff that's been happening. But before we get into E3 stuff too, I just want to remind people, hey, if you missed out on last week's episode, Frank actually did a very special episode with a friend of the show, Philomena Brabson from Geek Mythology Crafts. They had a very sincere and serious talk about things that women in games kind of like experience on their end of the fence. So if you haven't listened to that, definitely go back and check out episode 154 because it's very cool. And I guess on the topic of Frank, if he was here, he would definitely remind us. But he is currently at E3 as we speak. And that is why he is not on this show this week. So expect a full first-person account of all of his findings and doings over there at the LA Convention Center, in the Staples Center, or wherever the hell they're holding that thing. But he's going to rub it in our faces all next week. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, I would love to know what E3 is. Is it on par with any of the other like fan conventions like PAX or even New York Comic Con? Even though it's not really video games focused, but I'm curious how that holds up, how they bring up the fan experience to what has been so far historically like a press only event. So exciting times are ahead, but we've got a lot of things to talk about this week. It's going to be all E3 this episode, and we're going to try and plow through all these news items as fast as we can. But before we get into like E3 and the press conferences proper, there was some news items that happened prior to E3 that I kind of wanted to touch on real quick. So again, I'm going to go through this real quick. And again, Khalik, feel free to interrupt me if you need to say something about a particular topic. Otherwise, we're just kind of going to go through these real quick. The first bit of pre-E3 news we have is that Nintendo formally announced that their online service for the Switch is going to be free until 2018 when they finally launch it. Originally, I think they said they were going to launch it in late 2017 with a free trial before that, but they pushed that back, and they're still saying that it will be free to try until they formally launch it and accept your dollars to use that service, which is going to cost $20 per year, which is at least thankfully is cheaper than like Xbox Live Gold and PlayStation Plus, which are like I think $60 or $50 per year. There are options as well to pay per month if you want, or for every 3 months. So if you want to pay per month for the Nintendo service, it's going to cost you $3.99 US per month, or if you want to do every 3 months, it's $7.99 US. As part of this service, you're also going to get access to what Nintendo calls the Classic Game Selection, which is going to be just a bunch of NES games. And I think just NES games. No other retro consoles will be part of that, unfortunately. But they do cite titles such as Super Mario Bros. 3, Balloon Fight, and Dr. Mario will be available as part of this subscription service. So, I don't know. Hopefully that thing launches well, especially if they're pushing it back. But I don't know. Nintendo and online stuff seems to not mix very well. But we will see. Next up, Nintendo launched a Pokemon Direct, I believe the week prior to E3. And everybody was super excited because, like, hey, this is when they're going to announce Pokemon Stars for the Switch. And they're like, nope, not even a little mention about it. But what they did announce is that they will be doing a new version of Pokemon Sun and Moon called Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon for the 3DS, which is going to be basically a revamped version of the existing Sun and Moon game with an alternate storyline and some new Pokemon as well added into the mix. They also announced a new version of Pokken Tournament DX, which is going to... it's basically a port of the Wii U title already, but with some extra Pokemon, such as Scizor and Decidueye, the latter of whom is one of the Pokemon in the new Pokemon Sun and Moon games. So that's very cool that they're bringing that. I know a lot of people like that on the Wii U. Hopefully it finds a bigger audience on the Switch. And the other thing they announced in that Pokemon Direct was that Gold and Silver, the old Gen 2 games, are coming to the 3DS via Virtual Console, and it will be compatible with the Pokemon Bank. Pretty much the same exact setup that they have for the red and blue versions on the 3DS. Also in pre-E3 news, Monument Valley 2 is surprise launched on iOS. That was a favorite. The original was a favorite of mine on iOS and Android. I think I played it on Android, but that game is amazing. Now that the sequel is out, I want to play it, but it's not on Android yet, and they haven't said when it's out yet, but if you have an iOS device and you haven't played it, definitely check out Monument Valley 2 and the original if you haven't already played it. We've also got an announcement that Final Fantasy Dissidia and NT, or Dissidia Final Fantasy NT, is going to be released in 2018. I am not too familiar with Dissidia, but it is I believe the original this is kind of a new version based on an arcade release that came out a while ago. Mm-hmm. And now this is coming to the console, to the PlayStation 4, and...
Yeah, I just want to say something real quick about this game. Mm-hmm. It's been interesting because this game has been out for a while, and there's been like very sparse updates. So people are pretty excited about it, even though it doesn't play anything like the old Dissidia game. It seems to be a more 3-on-3 battle type. So that's kind of cool. I think the interface is a little too much. But the really interesting thing is, while they're saying that characters like Noctis or Final Fantasy 15 are in the game, right, they still haven't revealed a lot about this game yet. So we know it's coming soon, but this is a very strange title just on the idea that they've been very, very, very sparse with how much gets out. That we know it is a real game. We know that much, but all we've seen is trailers of characters that come every 1 or 2 months. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of interested, but hopefully, like, we'll get something really, really soon.
Yeah, pretty much all we have right now is that it's coming in 2018. Nothing more specific than that, and it is actually is being worked on by both Square Enix and Team Ninja. Also in, I guess, other Japanese games, Shenmue 3, which was announced, I think, 2 E3s ago, has been delayed until 2018. It was, I think, originally slated to launch December 2017. But obviously they've run into some problems, or I think in the description here they say that they're going to, or they had some new technology made available to them that will make the game better. So I guess to implement that, it caused them to have to delay the game a little bit. Hopefully they'll stick to that 2018 release window, but that's the status of Shenmue 3, in case anyone was worried about that. And then finally for pre-E3 news, this is weird. They're making a Bubsy game, like a new one.
What?
The trailer looks about as awful as you can probably imagine. It doesn't look great, but somehow they're bringing back the Accolade name, which was, I think, the original developer or publisher of the Bubsy game. So it's like, I don't know, man. It's not a great trailer. It doesn't look fantastic, but I guess that pretty much is par for the course for Bubsy games. So I don't know. That's the thing that's happening, and it's just so bizarre.
I gotta say, the coolest thing that happened after this got announced is that I believe Bubsy does an official Bubsy Twitter account. So the Sonic and Mega Man official Twitter account started trolling the hell out of the Bubsy account.
Oh my god!
Yeah, so the Sonic account is very well known for being, quite topical and just an overall laugh riot. And the Mega Man one started picking up recently, and they just went in. And I want you guys just Google it, check it out. There's some really good stuff there.
That sounds amazing. But yeah, that actually will do it for all our pre-E3 stuff. And actually, I should have mentioned it at the top here, but for everything that we have discussed and are discussing going forward, we will have all links to everything that we're going to talk about and links to trailers and all that stuff in our show notes, which you can see in your podcast player of choice or directly on our homepage at innercitygeeks.com. Just check out the homepage for the episode link, and that'll have all the links that we're discussing right now. So with that, now we can get into E3 proper. Let's hit up the first conference. That's I think this was the Saturday. I forget what time, but yeah, we've got EA was first up. So how about it, Khalik? What happened? What went down at EA?
All right, let's get started. Yeah, so it looks like the first thing to start off with was Star Wars Battlefront II, probably one of their most anticipated games coming out. And it showed an official trailer, just showing a little bit of different classes. You got a glimpse of Darth Maul there. And then you get some clips of the story mode, the main character, and just how it's going to, where it takes place. So obviously it takes place, well, not obviously, but it takes place between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens. And it also announced that, there will be some free content coming, including characters like Finn and Captain Phasma will be coming later in the holiday season. So hopefully, just from looking from it, just from the gameplay and the variations of battle, this game looks great, and the space battles look pretty cool too. I haven't really played Star Wars Battlefront. I'm a big Star Wars fan. It looks like they put a lot of work in, especially the story content, and just the special characters coming in, like just playing with Darth Maul and even the droids. It's looking really interesting. So I don't know how you feel about it, man.
I'm kind of ambivalent towards it. I'm not super into Star Wars. I enjoy watching the movies, but I've never been super into the lore or the history of Star Wars or anything like that. Okay. So, and yeah, I wasn't. I think I tried the demo of the last Battlefront game, but other than that, I have plenty of other multiplayer shooters to play right now. Destiny probably being chief among them. So unless there's something very, I don't know. I think probably the one thing that would drag me in here is the campaign.
Right.
If that's any good, if that's worth checking out, I'll probably dip my toes into Battlefront 2. But because it was multiplayer only last go around, that was probably why I didn't check it out. But yeah, if the campaign is as good as they're trying to make it out to be, then I might be on board for this one. The one note I wanted to say about this is during the presentation, I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know if it's just everyone's esports crazy or whatever, but they had a match of the multiplayer going on, and they had I guess they called them shoutcasters.
Okay.
Which I don't love that terminology. I'd rather just, everybody's commentators. That's what they do. And because you say shoutcast, I think of Winamp, and that doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, they were just commentating on this match, like it was a super competitive thing. But especially it being a new game and not knowing the mechanics of the game and how things are supposed to go strategically, it's weird to have them try and go in depth in that and try to make it seem like it's. People watching are definitely not going to know anything about the game, and I don't know how much the commentators knew about the inner workings of the game. But it was just a weird thing. I don't know. It was just my observation watching this from afar.
Wow, I actually wish I saw that live. It's interesting how shoutcasting became prevalent, at least within these conferences, at least somewhat. But we can talk about that a little later when it comes back up again.
Also, very quickly, shout outs to Janina Gavankar for holding it down at the EA press conference, because she was hosting this whole little section for EA Battlefront 2 towards the end, and she did an amazing job. She held it down. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say about Battlefront 2.
All right, cool. Yeah, and also again, Battlefront 2 comes out on PC, Xbox One, and PS4 on November 17th. Next up, we have Battlefield 1 DLC. So this DLC will be called The Name of the Tsar. So it's going to take place around the eastern front of World War One. And it announces there's going to be 6 new maps. And the Russian army will make an appearance, including the cavalry. And just some new maps, vehicles, and a new campaign focused around the Women's Battalion of Death. An all-women's battalion, which is canonically something that did happen. I know this game is taking some liberties, so I don't know, of course, how factually accurate it is, but, we will have to see.
Side note, I kind of love the fact that you use the term canonically for an actual historical event. So props to you, sir.
Hey, man. so your nerd levels and your real life knowledge sometimes gets intertwined. But
I definitely know that feeling.
Yeah. So The Name of the Tsar will be coming out in September. Alex, I don't know if you feel in any way about Battlefield 1.
No, not really. I played like the one episode of that game and haven't gone back to it. But I intend to finish that game. But yeah, I can't say much more else about Battlefield 1.
Okay. Yeah. Next up, we got FIFA. I'm just gonna move through this because Alex and I think we both admit we're not big FIFA fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, so FIFA 18 will be coming out, and the trailer showed its new story mode, The Journey, Alex Returns, and it picks up on Alex Hunter after he won the FA Cup after the initial, FIFA game. I believe that's FIFA 17. Well, I said initial FIFA game. Let me rephrase that. The
last one.
The previous FIFA game. Yeah. After that, next up we have Need for Speed Payback. And the trailer shows just like what you expect from a Need for Speed game. There's a lot of racing, a lot of crashing, running away from the cops. And there's some cool little set pieces in here. So, and that's going to be coming out on Xbox One, PS4, and PC on November 10th. Now, next up, we have A Way Out.
I was super excited for, by the way.
Yeah, A Way Out was developed by the same people who made Brothers. Brothers was a PS3 game where you play as 2 brothers, but each one is controlled by each analog stick.
At the same time.
At the same time. At the same time. So this one, it's starring 2 characters who are in a prison, and they're both working together to try to break out of jail. The thing that's really cool is it's a co-op experience that you could play local or online. And it splits the screen in half, so both characters are experiencing their stories at the exact same time.
Mm-hmm.
And the trailer shows just a little bit of what happens there and how one character may go through a cutscene and the other character, maybe in jail for the first time, so he's just taking a view of the land and walking around. And, I was really excited. Brothers was one of a nice gem I played a few years ago. And this looks really cool, especially it's a co-op experience that, you're not getting too many of these anymore. Especially all co-op game.
Yeah, and just the combination of the gameplay. I'm super curious, especially what it seems like a natural extension of what they did with Brothers.
Right.
So I'm very curious how they iterate on that kind of similar concept. And it seems like I don't know what the exact time frame is, but it looks like it's like some sort of 1970s jailbreak, prison break kind of deal going on there. So the premise looks interesting. The art style is also very interesting. It's not quite realistic, but it's got almost somewhat similar to what the Telltale games are doing.
Yeah,
sort of animated style, but not quite.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit weird when I noticed that it almost is a bit pseudo realistic, but then there's some of these cartoony effects, and even one of the main characters, when I was looking at his nose, and it seemed like it could be real, but just from the angle I saw it. But yeah, so that's it has a little more intrigue to the game. So yeah, I have not too much more to say. I'm really excited about this one. I really can't wait to come out.
Yeah, the only other thing I'm really curious about is how the online is going to work, because they say you can do co-op online, but do you have to verbally communicate with your co-op partner? Can you randomly matchmake with somebody to play the game? Because if not, you probably have to set up a time to play with an actual friend online. And I don't know how many people would be able to experience the game in that fashion. So that's the other thing that I'm kind of really curious / worried about.
Right.
And just to note, that game is I think currently just slated for 2018, nothing, or early 2018.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah. And next up, we got a quick trailer of Anthem, BioWare's new IP.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just shows you a quick teaser about like the wall and like necessarily you get a clip of the suits and like the environment they live in. And we're going to talk about it a little bit more when we get to the Microsoft conference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really all we got to say about that right now. NBA Live 18 just showed you a quick little story trailer. Just how you rise up and go from playing street games to NBA level games. I don't have a lot to say because personally I'm a big NBA fan. NBA Live games are trash or not.
Have they come out with an NBA Live game like in the past couple years? It feels like they're trying to relaunch NBA Live but have failed to do so.
They've tried multiple times.
Yeah.
And even once they tried to reinvent the franchise with a game called NBA Elite, which got canceled before it came out. So, yep. I gotta say, I'm just a little bit interested to know what this would look like, but I'm not too excited myself.
Yeah.
And finally, we have another clip of Madden 18 showing you the new story mode, just show you how you rise up. Well, story mode's titled Long Shot. And it's going to show you how you rise up just from college into the NFL. And that Madden will be coming out on August 25th for the PS4 and the Xbox One. I don't have a lot to say. Hopefully this game works well so I win my Madden tournament this year. That's a story for another day.
How many times have you won your Madden tournament?
0, but I've ended up in the finals twice.
Okay.
Yeah, I've ended up in the virtual Super Bowl twice. I have
You're right on the cusp.
I have a mug as a consolation prize, so it's pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
Pretty cool.
Cool.
But yeah, and with that, the EA conference has been wrapped up, and we can move on now to the Microsoft one, which I believe was the next day on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't even remember anymore, but it all's a freaking blur at this point. But yeah, Microsoft had a pretty good showing. I thought they focused primarily on the games, but. The biggest thing, of course, is that they did an official unveiling of the Project Scorpio, which has an official name of the Xbox One X, which is I don't know how I feel about that, but
yeah, I'm the same way. It's I mean, we could talk about it once you're done, but it's just a very confusing with all the naming conventions between Xbox One and S and X, which sound just way too similar.
Yeah, I saw some theories going around that one of the reasons may have been they wanted to fix the acronym issue because people were calling the original Xbox One the X-Bone, and Microsoft wasn't really happy about that. So if you kind of abbreviate this, you can get Xbox for Xbox One X, which is, I don't know how you feel about recursive acronyms, but that's a pretty good one.
You could get X-Bone X. It still works. It's never going away.
Yeah, and I think actually one of the Ubisoft people, when they were introducing Assassin's Creed, I think they slipped up and called it X-Bone or something similar. I was like, oh man, he did not just do that. Holy shit.
Oh, they're going to really hear about that one.
But yeah, like the Xbox One X looks really cool. Surprisingly, it's actually the smallest Xbox One that they've made. So it's even smaller than the Xbox One S, which is a smaller version of the insanely sized original Xbox One. So that's very great, especially because it's like so much more powerful too than anything on the market right now.
Yeah, that was really surprising to me. Just gotta say, just checking that out, especially since things have been getting bulkier and bulkier recently. But it does make sense when you look at PCs and laptops, and like for example, I have a laptop which can rival some of the stuff these consoles could put out. So it's just pretty good that they're finally working on something that makes smaller and smaller.
Yeah, because the Xbox One is just too big, and then you add that huge like power adapter too that you have to find a place for. It's ridiculous. I think they got rid of the power adapter now, so you just plug in a cable like you would PlayStation 4.
Yeah, they got rid of that with the Xbox One S.
Sweet. So yeah, it's going to be a 4K monster. It looks like they were throwing around a bunch of tech specs for the Xbox One X. But for further details, Xbox One X is going to retail for $499, which is, I think, a little high, as some people were speculating. But I don't know. We'll see. You have to pay for that power, and I'm sure they don't want to lose too much money on the thing. Xbox One S will still be sold alongside that. I forget what the price is on that. Or maybe $300. I'm just spouting numbers, so I don't know offhand. But Xbox One X will be released on November 7th of 2017. So if you want to get your 4K on, you can definitely do that in the coming months. But on to the games. They showed off some Forza Motorsport 7, which they announced, and it's certainly looking pretty. I believe all the trailers that they were showing off were in 4K, and yeah, a lot of these games look freaking sharp. Forza, of course, like a lot of racing games just are probably a perfect way to showcase like graphics. So it's like the first thing that game companies do. But yeah, Forza Motorsport 7 is fucking sharp as shit. Holy crap. But yeah, Forza is coming out on both Xbox One and Windows 10 on October 3rd. They showed off a trailer for Metro Exodus from that Russian franchise on I forget what the name of the books were, but it's based on some novels, some Russian novels, and it's basically a post-apocalyptic Russia, and you're going around there, and those Metro games were well received, and this looked fantastic. Metro Exodus is coming out. I forget. I don't think we have a date for that, but definitely look out for that.
Yeah,
that thing looks amazing,
dude. I was so surprised. I mean, I've never played any Metro games myself. I've always heard about it and seen it, but this looks so visually interesting that I like immediately. I'm just a little more curious. Like, will we get more information?
Yeah, he stabbed that like rat big fucking thing monster with an arrow in the eye. That looked insane.
Yeah, like I was like, is that a bear? Like I don't know, because all the things were dogs. Like it was so confusing. But yeah, I
don't know.
Yeah, it looks really dope.
Yeah, it looks crazy. Next up, they showed off some Assassin's Creed Origins, which is the previously leaked new Assassin's Creed game. I don't know. I saw the trailer. It again, this game looks amazing. Like on a technical level, it looks incredible. Especially if this is what they're pushing out on 4K. Amazing.
Yeah.
But like gameplay wise, I haven't seen anything really new to the formula, which I was kind of hoping for more, because this is like they famously took a year off the Assassin's Creed franchise to hopefully do more with it. But it seems more of the same.
So I mean, there's a few small differences I noticed. The first one being the literal eagle vision from the previous games is replaced by a flying eagle.
You mean like the drone mechanic from Watch Dogs 2 and Ghost Recon Wildlands?
Oh crap! I didn't think about it like that. You saying that right now is like enlightening me, because I've played Watch Dogs. It's the same mechanic. Oh my goodness! Wow. Yeah. Okay. You know what? You're right. I have to take that back. Fine. That's the same. But it looks like they may have changed the combat a bit, just from the camera angles. Just from what I usually know of, and you're familiar with Assassin's Creed combat, where it zooms out a bit, you have an eye in the sky. But this one, it seems solely placed over the shoulder, which is kind of cool. But the combat seemed more of the same. Assassin's Creed combat never has been deep. Yeah, but yeah, it's
been like serviceable.
Yeah, as always. But it looks pretty interesting. The setting I'm very curious about, and yeah,
and like from a lore perspective, it's supposed to be the origin story of the Assassin's Brotherhood. So seeing how that will get formed is also interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I just can't help but see like this is just an amalgamation of all the different Ubisoft games, and they're taking little bits and pieces of gameplay from the other franchises and just putting them into this one thing. So it's like, it's not entirely new. Like the other thing was like they had like color-coded loot system as well. Yeah. So you get your rares and your uncommons and your epic gear, and it's like, okay, that's strange. I'm curious how that's going to work in this game, but we will find out more, because this game is coming out October 27th, 2017. Mm-hmm. Also, a pretty big surprise for me is that they showed off a trailer for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, which is a currently PC-only game in early access, will be making its console debut on the Xbox One later this year. So that's a freaking huge get, because this game is like fucking everywhere right now. Yeah, especially on Twitch. This is the game to fucking beat right now, and I don't know. It's crazy. They did talk about like adding more maps, because currently there's only the one map. Right. This game is in early access. But yeah, it says this game will be available on the Xbox One via the game preview program in late 2017, and then will finally be released in its full version in 2018.
Yeah, I'm like you. I really thought this was I won't call it a megaton, but it was a sneaky get. Like, it's a big one. It's a really big one when you think about it in the long term. Like, because PlayerUnknown's is one of the biggest games out right now. And it looks like for the future, especially with more maps and, like, the promotion, this is going to be a really, like, I'm curious to see the final product. And I've heard them talk about adding a few extra things. So with this, it's, I was actually shocked. I was very shocked. But yeah, I'm kind of excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, I think that was probably the biggest surprise for me this E3 was that. Then this was a weird thing that happened in the conference. There was this game called Deep Rock Galactic, and the way they decided to show this off is to have another shoutcaster just like he was literally shouting stuff, like he was commentating, but in an obnoxious way, and it just kind of turned me off on the game. I was like, I don't care because this man is yelling, and I don't want to hear him yelling anymore.
Yeah.
But I believe this game is already out on PC, and I believe is making its console debut on the Xbox One in early 2018. So it's basically, I think the key thing about the game is there's a bunch of dwarves and stuff fighting aliens in a high-tech setting. It's 4-player co-op, hopefully I don't know if this trailer that we linked to shows the game without the shoutcasting. I really hope so, because that was not the best way to see what that game was about.
Wait, actually, hold on. I'm just trying to confirm. Is this like the same? I think this. Hold on. Wait, that's a different game later, I believe. That I believe it's.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It's a couple down. We'll talk about it when we get there. But
okay,
I realized
I'm just looking at it visually, and I remember seeing a lot of those same colors in that game when the man was yelling.
No, you're right. But this was more of a like exploratory game with 4-player, like breaking rocks and a few things. Like just from what I remember now. But yeah, no, you're not wrong. It's just a little. That's a game coming up that we'll talk about.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Next up, we've got State of Decay 2. They showed a trailer for that. I know the original was very much well received on the Xbox 360. Kind of a cult-like favorite. So it's good to see the sequel is coming out and looks to build upon what made that first game so great. And that will be coming to Xbox One in early 2018. Then we have the Darwin Project. Yeah, that is a multiplayer survival game.
Yeah, that's the one that you were talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, that was what we're there. The Shoutcaster, which is the first time I saw it this weekend. I was like, that's a very interesting term. It started going crazy, and I was like, I didn't know. I felt the crowd was dead for it. I certainly was, and it was just very jarring compared to everything else in the conference.
Yeah, because of that, like I know nothing about this game other than what it says here is that it's a multiplayer survival game.
Yeah, like in my notes, I actually wrote esports. Like I didn't write anything else.
In capital letters, 3 exclamation points. Yeah, fucking God. Oh my God. But yeah, the Darwin Project, we got a trailer on this link here as well, so you can check that out if you'd like. That is coming out to Xbox One and PC in the spring of 2018. Then they brought up some Mojang people to talk about Minecraft. And I think the big announcement was that they were going to offer unified cross-play across all platforms via Xbox Live. So huge. I don't know if you necessarily have to have Xbox Live if you're not on an Xbox system. But you're going to be able to play with other people on other systems. I think the only exception is there was some stuff with the PlayStation 4. But you can play with other platforms between them, probably minus the PlayStation 4.
Right.
For reasons we'll probably get into later on. How about that? Then they also announced for Minecraft a super duper graphics pack, which makes the game look a lot better for 4K. I was kind of scared when they announced it because I thought it was going to be like a realistic Minecraft, which I would not be prepared for. But they basically just like up-res the textures, and there's like God rays for the lighting, and it just like volumetric fog and all this crazy like technical stuff. It looks really cool, and but it still has like that Minecraft feel, thankfully, all the blocky nature of everything. Next up, we've got Dragon Ball Fighter Z. This news kind of leaked out prior to this conference, but Arc Systems Works are making a Dragon Ball Z fighting game. It's a 3-on-3 game, and it looks fantastic. If you've seen Guilty Gear, now imagine Dragon Ball Z characters and animation styles and all that stuff in that quality, that level of quality and detail that they put into their games. And you've got Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
Oh my goodness.
Khalik, I know you got things to say.
Oh God.
So you might as well just get off your chest, man.
Yeah, I remember when this got leaked a few days before the conference. When I saw the announcement, I almost teared up. I was like, this is impossible. Like, this sounds insane. Arc System Works, Dragon Ball Z, legit fighter, 3-on-3 like Marvel. And then you hear that, you don't really know what you're expecting. And then this trailer dropped. And it was funny where Phil Spencer was talking about, like, there's a few like Japan like games worldwide, and there's a weird one. There's a real weird one that I played that's really interesting. And then Dragon Ball came on, which I don't think the crowd was expecting. I certainly wasn't. Like, I expected this game to show at Sony. And they showed the animations. I mean, if you've seen Guilty Gear Xrd, it's very similar. Well, it's just like the anime style, but it does have a different flavor, especially with the Dragon Ball Z touch. And man, this game looks so good. It looks so good. I was actually crying when this happened. I have no shame in admitting that I said, this game looks amazing. It's hands down the greatest looking Dragon Ball Z game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And as a fighter, it looks competent. It looks really, really interesting. And they have 6 characters so far. There's like a quick little demo of it. And I mean, there's so much here and so much emotion. Like, I feel I'm just don't know really what to say. And like, there's later gameplay footage that's outside here that shows you more of what it will look like. Yeah. And it looks like a Arc System Works type game, like Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue. It looks pretty competent, really looks solid. So yeah, I'm really, really excited. They showed, there's some stuff in there since a game called Dragon Ball Fighters with a Z at the end of Fighters that people thought this would be a mainly Dragon Ball Z game. Yeah. But with Frieza, I mean, you might see it, Alex, you might not know, but in the trailer, Frieza's golden, that's an actual plot thing from the newer series Dragon Ball Super. So people are kind of excited that the newer Dragon Ball Z characters and stories are going to be included as well. But yeah, like Marvel style, like a Marvel style Guilty Gear game that's Dragon Ball Z. Like, legit, in my notes, I wrote hype and stopped writing notes for the rest of the conference. I was done. I couldn't handle myself. I was so, oh man, I'm so hyped. Day zero. If I could pre-order this game right now, I will. Like, I can't wait. I will buy Guilty Gear to try to learn how to play these systems. I also saw on a quick side note we didn't list here that ever since this got announced, 10,000 more copies of Guilty Gear have been sold in the past couple days.
God damn.
Yeah. So the hype is real. Yeah. The hype is real. Like, people are really excited.
I believe it.
Yeah. Nothing really else. I can't wait. It says coming early 2018. Yeah. So, which is nice. It gives us a lot of time to see that they're working on it, that it's not going to be thrown out like any other third-party anime game. Yeah. Yeah. I got nothing really else to say. It's just beautiful. Captures the spirit of the animation style of the show. Yeah, that's it. I could keep going, but I'm going to just start rambling. I'm done.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. I haven't played a Dragon Ball Z fighter since Budokai 3, which I really liked. But
I have to say this. There are people online that are actually upset that it's not Budokai.
What?
And like they said, it's not Budokai 4. It's not Budokai Tenkaichi 3. So it looks like a mobile game. Like, I'm hearing these things going insane. Wow. That like, the salt is that real? Are you serious? Oh, Dragon Ball Z doesn't deserve to be a legit fighter. It's meant for casuals. Like, I'm hearing the crazy stuff.
Oh man.
Like,
wow.
Like, yeah. This is the thing that people have wanted for years. For years. Like casual Dragon Ball Z fans, hardcore. This is what you want. And you finally get it. And people are just insanely upset.
That's retarded.
Yeah, literally the most disappointing thing I've seen all week. I don't care. This game, hopefully, there's a lot of stuff here. There's like a lot of interesting stuff. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I can't wait. I'm with you, man. I'm really excited, but yeah. Let's move it along because there's so much more stuff. Yeah, so they also showed off a trailer for Black Desert Online, which I believe is an MMO. Yeah. That might be already available on PC, but it will be making its console launch exclusively on Xbox One. Also, they showed off a trailer which I thought was fucking phenomenal. It's a game called The Last Night.
Yes.
Which I don't know anything about other than this game looks stylish as hell. The trailer starts off, it looks like a typical like 3D kind of game. There's a lot of like dark cityscapes with like neon lights and all that, and then you see the characters in the game and their 2D pixel art, and just mixed with that like 3D environment with the like nice lighting effects and all that. That mix is something else, man. You guys need to see this trailer because it's phenomenal.
No, when I first saw this, I thought this was like a gem of the show. This looks so cool.
Yeah.
It did, like the style mix, everything you just said, the style mix with the cyberpunk. Well, it seems to be a cyberpunk aspect to it. I saw floating like taxi cars. I was like, that's definitely cyberpunk.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm honestly super excited for this. And like, we know nothing about it. I just need to know more soon.
Yeah. Also, in I guess sort of like their indie section, they showed off a trailer for The Artful Escape, which I don't know if it's developed or if it's published by Annapurna, which they were involved in the What Remains of Edith Finch, which I talked about not too recently, or which I talked about recently. That looked very cool. They also showed off Code Vein, which is a Souls-like adventure, which is coming to Xbox One in early 2018. And they showed off a fair amount of Sea of Thieves, which I think they announced last year or maybe 2 years ago at E3. But yeah, it's the pirate game from Rare, which they haven't made a game in like forever, it seems. But yeah, Sea of Thieves, I don't know, it looks cool. They've built on what they've shown previously, and yeah, they're just kind of like manning a pirate ship. It's a cooperative game, and they're finding treasure, and the whole thing with the maps where they're like, using these treasure maps that have just written clues, and they don't really tell you specifically, so you have to like, I don't know, I thought it was a cool thing that just those written clues and using those to kind of find stuff in the environment and actually find actual treasure. That could be very promising if they nailed the execution.
Yeah, no, I thought it looked really interesting, especially, every time you get one clue, another one pops up. The fact that you could have one of your crewmates hold the map was really cool. The only thing I'm really curious about is how the co-op stuff works. Like, do you need actual players to man the ship, or can the ship like move itself? Do you have like NPCs that will help you out in certain instances? Like that. Yeah. That's the part I was very interested about, because there's a point in the trailer or the footage they showed where one of the characters just goes and mans the ship by themselves. So will that be a player character? Because that seems like for a normal person, for a real life person, that wouldn't seem like a person would like to do that. So I'm just curious on how that's going to work. Yeah. And I really liked how, like the real cool point when the ship battle happened and you're storming across the waters and being affected by the waves.
Yeah.
Did you jump on the ship to battle them?
Like you shoot yourself from the cannon to the other ship. Like, what? Okay. This is that kind of game. All right. This is cool.
Yeah, so that was like honestly really cool. I've been interested in it for a long time. I forgot this game was like coming out. It's one of those type of games, but it looks interesting. I just want to know a little more information about how some of that other stuff works. But yeah, like really cool, really cool.
Yeah, I hope it does a very good job of helping you to incentivize working with your crewmates if you have to like be forced with other people or however that system works. But yeah, that'll be coming out early 2018, so that's something to look forward to. They showed off a trailer for Tacoma, which is the follow-up to Gone Home. It finally has a release date, which is August 2nd. Yeah, that's when it will be releasing on Xbox One. I'm sure it will be released on other systems later on. Then this was weird. They showed off a trailer for Super Lucky's Tale, which I don't know if you're familiar, but Lucky's Tale, the original was I think it was a launch game for the Oculus Rift. Okay. So it was a VR game. But you still played it as a like 3D platformer, but from a weird perspective because it's VR. And now I guess it's making its just like regular console debut on the Xbox One November 7th. And they're doing, I don't know if it's the base game with new features, or I'm not sure what the differentiation is, but I would assume based on the title, it's something like that.
Yeah, I thought it was real strange. I didn't know the story of Lucky's Tale, excuse me. So just seeing that seemed a bit weird because it's very different from Microsoft recently, like having this mascot-like character. Yeah. And I'm glad to know that it actually seems to be some type of remake of a previous title. But yeah, it just seemed, compared to everything, especially what we know of Microsoft, it seems very, very different and kind of jarring. Yeah.
And I think myself included, I know a lot of people were thinking it the same thing, but because the Xbox One X is supposed to be powerful enough to run a VR headset, some people are seeing Lucky's Tale. I'm like, is VR coming to the Xbox One X? And it doesn't seem like that is the case yet. But again, because Lucky's Tale was VR exclusive, that's the conclusion that most people jump to. But at least not yet. That's not happening. But they also showed off a trailer for Cuphead, which finally has a release date, and that is September 29th of 2017. Everyone's been looking forward to this game ever since they showed off that initial trailer. I don't even remember how many years ago, but man, it's good that Cuphead is coming out. And they didn't really show much gameplay. They're just like, hey, this is the date for Cuphead. We know you want it.
Yeah. I'll believe it when I see it. Like it actually looked kind of cool. I mean, I've wanted to play Cuphead ever since I first saw it, but it's another one of those situations where it's been so long and you don't really know. Like, hopefully, like it's finally coming out. Seems to be.
Yeah,
and we can finally get to see what this game actually is.
Yup. Then we also have a trailer for Crackdown 3.
Yes.
Which also has a release date that is coming out November 7th, 2017 for Xbox One and Windows 10. And I didn't know if this was news or if this was known before, but yeah, they were Terry Crews is in this game apparently. And he's doing Terry Crews things. And that, I don't know, to me it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because Terry Crews can like do no wrong.
Yeah. Like at first when I saw it, I thought you get to play as Terry Crews. And went, this might be the best video game of the year. Like, you can't really go wrong. Again, I feel the same way you do.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, but the thing is, they didn't actually show Terry Crews. I know they said Commander Jackson, like, but I don't know if they showed him in the game itself.
Yeah, they like he was like in front of a green screen acting out some stuff and just like, I don't know, describing stuff that you might do in the game.
Right.
But I don't know if he is like an actual voiced character in the game or if this is some like promotional thing.
Right.
But either way, that's coming out later this year. They also showed off a trailer for Ashen, which I actually don't remember from the press conference. But according to this, it's there's going to be monsters hiding in the darkness, and it's an indie action role playing game with co-op as a focus, and that will be coming out in 2018 for Xbox One and PC. Yeah,
this game looks cool. I actually thought this game was the Brothers game before I saw a ways out. Okay. Yeah, just from the idea of it. Where you fight these monsters at night, and they're not always the same monsters. Mm-hmm. But they didn't really I thought the trailer did a great job of showing how the co-op interplays. Like, the trailer kind of shows the action. So, I don't, like, there's a little bit there, but I don't know if that is what it is. I'm very curious on how that actually will play in a real setting, like an actual gameplay setting. Yeah. So, yeah, looks interesting. I feel like it'll get lost, like, in the mix. Well, it depends on when A Ways Out is released. Because it just seems similar in concept, or just on just a certain level.
Yeah.
Right.
We've also got Life is Strange Before the Storm. This is the prequel to Life is Strange. Again, very well received original game. I know Frank says lots of good things about it. I still need to play it because I'm very intrigued by this game. But this is going to be a prequel that looks to tell Chloe's story from before when Max returned, I guess, in the original Life is Strange. This will be a 3-episode series, and it will return on August 31st of 2017. We have also got Middle-earth Shadow of War. They showed off some more gameplay of that. I know some gameplay footage had floated around before, prior to E3, but they showed it off again on the Microsoft stage, and yeah, this game looks very impressive. I wasn't too hot on the original Shadow of Mordor, but Shadow of War looks like it's almost maybe too much more complex than the original Shadow of Mordor. There's almost like a strategic element when you're trying to take down these like strongholds and footholds and all that, and trying to match your guys versus the other guys and make sure that they have an advantage versus when they're fighting off each other. It's crazy how far they went with this like nemesis system, but it could be a very good thing. But I would like to see more when this game launches this year, October 10th, and that's coming to pretty much everything PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4 on October 10th, 2017.
Yeah, can I just say one thing about the game? I know that some characters are every character is voice acting, but just from the trailer, it seems like either some are either prioritized or they all have different ways of speaking, but because it wasn't really clear. Like, that part wasn't clear on like how that would work, and I agree about the complexity part. I think it will make it helps differentiate it from, let's say, a Batman Arkham game, because this game kind of feels similar to Batman and Assassin's Creed, the first one. Yeah, because we both played that game. I'm not the hugest fan. I'm not the biggest fan of Lord of the Rings, but yeah, I feel like this can almost have the same problem Assassin's Creed Revelations had, and just the idea of like the complexity of that battle, unless there's a very simple way to show it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much more to say.
Yeah, yeah. Well, but to your point about like the voice acting, like the original game had like all the different characters that you interacted with were fully voiced, so I would imagine the same would carry over in this new one.
No, I agree I know that part I know, but like the character they show, Bruce, he seemed to have so many lines. It seems to be such a central character.
Yeah, I think he's just based on that, he might be central to the story. Right. I don't know if every single enemy you come across will have like that much to say.
Gotcha.
But this other part, I was like, holy crap, they got Gareth Coker on stage playing some music.
Oh, yeah.
From, I don't know if it was from the original or from this new one, but Ori is coming back. The sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest is called Ori and the Will of the Wisps. And they showed off like a cinematic trailer for that while Gareth Coker was playing on stage, and that was very cool. But yeah, I'm very much excited for more Ori and the Blind Forest or Ori and the Will of the Wisps. No release dates for this, just this cinematic trailer, and it looks fantastic. Like somehow they made that already original beautiful game and made it even look better. It's crazy the leap that they made from the original game. And then finally, we got a much more in-depth look at Anthem on the Microsoft stage. This is BioWare's next big game, and goddamn, this game looks impressive as hell. It's I can't help it, but like seeing this game, and I'm like, oh man, I wish Mass Effect looked like even half like this. It's insane. Like just everything. It looks like an actual like true like next gen game where like Mass Effect looked like it was kind of straddling the line still between like last gen and this gen, even though it was only released for this generation of consoles. But yeah, Anthem looks amazing. You start off like in the city area, and then you kind of climb into your exosuit, and I don't know, I got a lot of Destiny vibes from this thing because it seems like it's a cooperative game, and you're going out into this huge, like lush open world, and I don't know, getting loot and killing monsters and all that crap. I don't know, man. I'm kind of scared because if it does, the one thing I'm really curious about is if there's going to be any of the BioWare like calling cards. Is there going to be a lot of like BioWare character interaction or any of that like RPGness, or are they going more into this shooter loot based system and not really focusing too much on the story? That's my curiosity. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, do you think, especially since I know you're a big Destiny fan, do you think that it seems like this game is going for the same kind of feel as Destiny, like that type of game, even though there are a few differences?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I'm losing the point, but do you feel like this type of game, like, can it be a competitor? I mean, it seems to be Xbox exclusive so far. I don't really know too much about it, but it seems different enough that it's not exactly the same thing Destiny is.
Yeah, it looks different enough. I've seen actually stuff online, people more comparing it to Warframe more than they were Destiny.
Interesting.
Yeah, I haven't played Warframe, but yeah, like because you have the different suits in Anthem, like there are different like I guess archetypes for the javelins, which are the names of the exosuits that you can get.
Yeah.
You get like, you know, Ranger build, which I think is more the middle of the road build, and then you get like these tankier javelins or much more faster ones. But I don't know, just like going around and flying around and stuff, that fucking looks cool as hell. But yeah, I kind of doubt that it's going to be exclusive to Xbox, because at least from what I've seen, they said they had a lot of exclusive stuff, but most of it was like launch exclusive or console launch exclusive. So
Gotcha.
Most of the stuff I think is going to eventually come to like PlayStation, or at the very least PC, which is fine by me because I have a capable PC, thankfully.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm very much looking forward to Anthem, which is supposed to be coming out in 2018. Whenever the hell that is.
Yeah, I was looking forward to it as well. My thing is, I felt that it looked so good that it has to get delayed. That,
I'm sure.
Like the graphic, I mean, graphically is amazing, and the flying around aspect is like I could just be Iron Man in the game. Like that's really cool. It seems to run well. So yeah, I mean, they didn't show like too much gameplay. They just showed 2 classes. But yeah, I'm like you. I just can't wait to see a little more.
Yeah, it looks cool. But that will actually wrap it up for Microsoft. And then I think from there, we can just jump into what Bethesda had this year.
Yeah. Yeah, Bethesda, which came on, I believe, later that day. No, was it later that day? No, it actually might have been
Who knows?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But yeah, they had a pretty, quick and dirty conference. Just go through all their stuff. So they showed you some clips of Doom VR and Fallout VR. Mm-hmm. Yep. And like to see Doom, VFR, excuse me, seems to be like a very different game from the Doom that was just released recently.
Yeah, it just looks like a typical VR shooting gallery type of thing.
Yeah, while Fallout 4 seems to be just Fallout 4, as far as we know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and hopefully there was no release date given, but people believe it will be out relatively soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they also announced that for Skyrim and Fallout 4, there's going to be a creators club, which are paid mods are going to be coming to Fallout and Skyrim. So they're going to be working, Bethesda's going to be working with external partners, like for an online store, so you can get these paid mods that are approved by Bethesda. Yeah, and that should be out this summer, for PC, Xbox One, and the PS4. Next up, they showed Elder Scrolls Legends. So, not a lot really shown. This has been known for a while, but it seems to be a game similar to Hearthstone.
Yeah, it's their card collecting game.
Yeah. Not much to say here. So, they said we'll be getting a Heroes of Skyrim update on June 29th. So, actually next, they had it's a Skyrim trailer, but with a little twist. So, it announced that Link is confirmed for Skyrim on the Switch. Specifically, the Breath of the Wild version of him. So if you have the Breath of the Wild Link amiibo, if you scan it on the Switch, you'll see that your character gets like the attire as Link, and in the trailer show that you get to open up a chest which has a sword and shield. And I mean, it looks pretty cool. It looks pretty interesting. I don't know how much of a big difference on gameplay it'll be from the initial Skyrim. But yeah, I mean, it looks pretty cool if you want to check that out. If you already own or eventually own that Zelda amiibo, Link amiibo.
I don't know, man. That thing looked kind of bad. I don't know. That Link model in the game is like, yeah, it looks like a bad mod for Skyrim.
It just looked like they just put like the clothes over the model and just kind of sort of put it together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like how they don't like full on show the face, because I think in one you see like the back side profile of the face, and it's like, nope, it's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. Because they know.
Mm-hmm. They don't want to show us too much.
Yeah. The other weird thing was that there's like motion controls now for this version, which I don't know. It kind of looks cool, but I doubt many people will use it.
Yeah. Okay, next up, we got Dishonored: Death of the Outsider, which seems to be a different version of Dishonored 2. It's not really clear if it's DLC or a standalone game, but it seems to be some type of cyberpunk take, which, I mean, when I watching the trailer myself, I didn't really get that initially. Mm-hmm. But, because it still looks like the characters are wearing clothes similar to the era Dishonored might take place in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you saw the main character here with this weird cybernetic type eye, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, but just the name of the thing, Death of the Outsider, seems to have big implications to the world of Dishonored, because the Outsider is a pretty influential character in those games.
Yeah, I personally don't know too much about Dishonored, so thank you for letting me know. Yeah, and this should be coming out on September 15th.
Sweet.
Next up, Evil Within 2 had a reveal trailer showing you basically a lot of, it's a quick tease, some zombies, of course, like the horror. I know a lot of people didn't like Evil Within due to like some structural problems, like some gameplay issues. So hopefully they were able to fix that. And this game should be coming out on October 13th. And finally, this is the game I was looking forward to, Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is the sequel to the recent Wolfenstein: The New Order game, which came out a couple years ago, and which I loved that game. Kind of a throwback to the old type third-person shooter. And the trailer shows here, this is a pretty lengthy trailer.
This trailer is something, man.
Yeah, so we gotta break it down a little bit, because it first starts off with this Lassie-like commercial.
Liesel? What was the thing called? Something like that? Yeah.
Liesel, Leslie, something about that. Where instead of Lassie, this giant mechanical Nazi dog it tries to help out these, like a sheriff in a farmer with a truck. It just ends up burning it.
Yep.
And it goes through the commercials and show you the various differences that the world's media has taken since it's been taken over by Nazi Germany. Because the plot of Wolfenstein, at least the newer games, is that the Nazis or the Axis has won World War II, and this takes place about 15 years afterwards. Yeah, and it shows you here your main character, BJ Blazkowicz, who apparently his girlfriend is now pregnant with twins, and he wants to take care of all these Nazis as hard and fast as he can.
Okay.
Yeah, and that means riding on like type of, I don't want to call it a Liesel dog because that's not probably right, but the same type of mechanical Nazi dog and laser weapons, and there's a lot of interesting stuff going on, like this weird retro futurism. Like one of the cool things, he had this weird like polygonal suit.
Yeah, like this weird helmet that just kind of spawned out of nowhere, and was like, okay, that's fucking weird, but I dig it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm super excited for this. I can't wait for this game to come out.
I love the tone of this thing. I still haven't played the New Order, but man, this thing, like there was one scene where they had a fairly lengthy conversation in like an office with BJ Blazkowicz and some other, maybe his superior or whatever, and there's like active sniper fire going through the window behind them, and they're just talking like super casually, like nothing's going on. Like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Dude, if you want more of that, play the original Wolfenstein The New Order. It's so good, so interesting, and it has so much fun with it.
Yeah, I need to. And then but the end of that trailer, man, that when that dude popped some acid and it just turns into like this fucking cartoon, almost like Roger Rabbit style thing, where you have this like 3D modeled character, and then there's like this fucking 2D like really well animated characters like Lizard Dude or whatever, and he just kind of picks it up off the ground or something, and I was like, what the fuck is this? This is I need this in my life.
Yeah, like I didn't know what the hell was going on there. I was trying to remember if it was something from the original New Order game, but I was like, if they have more of this, I can't wait.
Yeah. That's a game to look out for sure.
Definitely. And with that wraps up the Bethesda conference, and we can just move right along to Ubisoft.
Word. So I'm going to say, like, I straight up didn't watch this conference at all, but I saw some of the trailers.
I'm with you 100%. Yeah.
But at least I saw some of the trailers here, and we have them all here, so definitely check those links out. But the first thing they have up here is they finally showed off some of that Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which from what I can tell is kind of like a strategy type game. I'm not sure entirely, but that looks like a fucking weird thing. We've also got more Assassin's Creed Origins. I'm not sure what new stuff they showed there, but we've also got another trailer there on this page. We pretty much talked about what Assassin's Creed Origins is already, so we will move right along. Well, if I haven't said it before, Assassin's Creed Origins is coming out October 27th this year. They also announced The Crew 2, which is expanding the car racing thing to pretty much anything with an engine, because now you can race cars, boats, planes, dirt bikes, and a whole lot more. So that's kind of exciting. I think that the original The Crew was pretty well received, but they're building on that, and that's going to be coming out early 2018 for PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. And you can actually register right now for beta access if you'd like. They showed off a new trailer and some new gameplay footage for South Park: The Fractured Butthole. That's coming out October 17th this year, and coming out to PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. Also, to remind people, it's also still comes. I think if you buy this game, you can get the original Stick of Truth for current consoles, because I think it was a last-gen game. And then they had some weird VR stuff. I'm not sure what this is. They didn't really explain this as far as I can tell. But there's this VR title called Transference. Elijah Wood is somehow involved. But yeah, they talk very weirdly about this. Maybe check out the trailer, but yeah, they don't really say what it is other than it's like a VR experience. Who knows? But that's coming out spring in 2018. Hey, did you like doing the pirate ship stuff in Assassin's Creed Black Flag?
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
Well, I've got good news, because they're making that an entire new game. It's called Skull and Bones.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't have the full picture on this game. I don't know if it's just multiplayer, but yeah, you're basically. It's kind of like Sea of Thieves, but more serious and pretty much. Yeah, because from my understanding, is built by the same team that did the boat stuff and the pirate ship stuff for Black Flag. This is Ubisoft Singapore. And they're doing an entire game just on this like pirate ship combat and doing all kinds of other stuff. So you can loot and plunder and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be cool.
Yeah, I gotta say, that was one of my favorite parts of that era of Assassin's Creed. Like the ship battles is so unique and there's nothing like it in video games right now.
Yeah.
So I'm curious as how many new things they'll take from those games or add to it, because they're all kind of played the same, and invading the ships was interesting, but there's only so much you can do here, like just so far from what we can tell, without just looking like the Assassin's Creed game without the name.
Yeah. And I'm curious too, like how much overlap there will be with Sea of Thieves, because I don't know, it's just too damn similar. I don't get it.
Right.
But yeah, Skull and Bones is supposed to be coming out in the fall of 2018, so it's going to be a while. But they're targeting PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Just Dance, of course, 2018. It's just more Just Dance. I don't know. It's going to be coming out for everything. It'll be out in October on every console under the sun. And they also announced South Park Phone Destroyer, which is going to be a mobile game. And I don't know, it's going to be a card-based RPG. I didn't see too much about this, but it will be coming to Android and iOS in 2017. We've also got Starlink, A Battle for Atlas, which is, I saw some stuff going around about this, but apparently Toys to Life is still a thing that exists. So I don't know, Disney pulled out because that was a disaster for them, but I don't know, Ubisoft sees more life in it, and they're coming out with this Starlink game, which is supposed to be you can have these modular toys that I guess you can kind of add on to, and that will be reflected in the game. The trailer is here. You can find out more information if that is of interest to you, but that will be coming to Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One in the fall of 2018. So again, ways out. Steep, Road to the Olympics. They're going to, I guess, be adding on to Steep. This is going to be its first full expansion about high-end competition, as it says here in this article. And it's going to be taking people to the Winter Olympics, and that will be launching on December 5th of 2017. We've also got more trailers on Far Cry 5. And the big one, people thought was never going to happen. I probably would have said it was never going to happen. But Beyond Good and Evil 2 got yet another showing at the Ubisoft press conference, and they showed off a pre-rendered CG trailer about the game, and man, it's sure a thing. Cause I don't know. Tell me what you think about this thing, because you saw it as well.
Yeah. So the first thing, when I first saw the image, I thought this was fake. I thought it was fake because we've heard so much about Beyond Good and Evil 2 over the years. The fact that this game was not in active development this whole time. Well, that's hard to say. I can't say this whole time, but
it's been like on and off for forever now.
Yeah, it's never been really clear what's the status of it. But then, I watched the full trailer, as we're recording this, and wow, man, this trailer is really interesting, really cool. And seems to be going to even maybe bigger heights than the first game did. Yeah. It
pretty much feels like it's pulling from Fifth Element for its visual style, and it's insane. Yeah, but I believe Michelle Ancel was out there saying that this is actually going to be a prequel to the original Beyond Good and Evil. So that on itself is very interesting. I don't remember a lot of the original. I know I beat it and enjoyed it a lot, but I don't remember like the specifics of the story. But it definitely seems like much larger in scope. Even though this trailer is completely CG, it is supposed to be representative of the gameplay of stuff that you can do. Like that monkey, he had that little hand grapple thing. That's apparently in game. You can do that in game, just like to move around.
Yeah, I gotta say, I really like the design of the monkey guy, and his partner, that girl.
Yeah,
they look really cool, and I hope I'm going to imagine that's going to keep the spirit of Beyond Good and Evil. They'll be both playable. But
man, I hope so.
That looks really awesome. Yeah, I just hope this actually comes out.
Yeah, we've seen like Beyond Good and Evil 2 trailers before, and we know how that went. and it didn't go anywhere. So I hope against hope that this is going to come out, but I don't know. There was also the end of that trailer where it seemed like that person. At least I'm going to throw out my theory that's probably Jade's mom.
Yeah, because there's no way that could have been Jade. By it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like just because it's a prequel. Because I went back to that part twice just to be sure. But yeah.
But like that the end of that trailer also kind of promises this crazy scale that hasn't been seen, at least in the original game, because it seems like you're going to be on a spaceship and going around all over space in addition to all these other planets. So that's fucking crazy. It's to your point, like this feels super fake, especially with how ambitious they're going with it. Like no, I don't believe you. You guys are lying. You're full of shit.
Yeah, because like in my brain, I'm thinking of this like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy type thing with it, which would be a bit. I mean, that would be really cool if they could hit that note.
Yeah,
that with Fifth Element and every planet has different like environments. To see that, I feel like that would be like great. But again, this is all speculation. It's not we don't really know so much yet. I just really, really hope that we get to see something of this again.
Yep. And of course, like no real time frame for when it's going to be released. So I'm going to cross my fingers. That's all I can do. But that will do it for Ubisoft press conference, and we can just jump over to Sony and what they do in their press conference.
Yeah, this is a very different Sony conference from the past, where Sean Layden comes out from the beginning and says, "Hey, you guys want games? Here you go," and it just kind of disappears.
Okay.
For the rest of the show. So I gotta say this: when the conference started, there was some really cool Middle Eastern music and someone playing on a sitar, and it led into the trail of Uncharted: Lost Legacy. Now, for people who watched the stream live, there was no audio.
Okay.
So you were not able to hear what was going on, even if you cranked it up to 100. Like my TV was cranked up completely. Then it was apparent that any stream associated with Twitch wasn't going to work, so only the official Sony stream worked, which was a bit delayed. Yeah. But it had the sound. And eventually these problems got resolved. But the trailer for Uncharted Lost Legacy looks pretty interesting, showing you Chloe and Nadine. And, it's more Uncharted. If you want to see that, if you love these characters, you could go into it. And that should be coming out this August. Next up, which I am very excited for, is there's going to be some expansion for Horizon Zero Dawn called The Frozen Wilds.
Okay.
So it's not exactly... So it's just a quick trailer just showing them people running away from the machine dinosaur-like creatures from the game. And a quick shot of Aloy coming to assist them. Yeah. And all we know is that is coming out later this year.
Okay.
Yeah. And next up, we have Days Gone. Which was a game been worked on by Sony Ben for quite a while. And the trailer
it kind of looked like the last time they showed it, it pretty much looked like just a tech demo because they had all these zombies and look, we can burn all these zombies and there's like a big physics simulation going on.
Yeah. So I wasn't really expecting much this time. And it's very interesting when you watch the trailer because it just showed the character fighting some humans and running away from them, hiding in bushes. And what the really cool thing, that really stood out in the trailer, was how you could use sounds to control and move zombie hordes.
Yeah.
Where he used some explosive to blow up a barricade, which made all of the zombies run, cause a distraction. So it looks interesting. I'm just it's thematically, it's a very interesting choice when you have a game like The Last of Us is out. Which just visually, it kind of feels similar. And or maybe a game like Horizon. While the game does look good, I just thought it felt a bit derivative. And
I was a little more impressed with this new footage. But yeah, I still don't know what the full game is going to be. But just the way that different systems works, that's a little more impressive. To know that they're aiming for more than just there's just going to be a shit ton of zombies everywhere. But now you can do kind of interesting things with them, like use them as distractions, which is kind of fucking crazy on the face of it. But it's also weird that, State of Decay 2 is also coming out on Xbox. So it's weird, we've got these competing zombie games going on both systems.
Yeah, I always think that there's going to be a time where we get tired of zombies.
I'm already there.
I've kind of been there for a while. The Last of Us is a high exception to the rule.
Yeah.
Because of what that game is. It's not really about the zombies. Or they're not zombies per se. So, yeah. Yeah, so there's no release date known yet for this. And hopefully we hear something very soon.
Well, yeah, but I'll say it looks much better than what I had initially thought of the game. So that's something. And is that Sam Witwer as the main character?
Oh, thank you so much. I was trying to figure that out myself. Because he doesn't sound like Sam Witwer. Yeah,
and he's rocking the full beard and the beanie and all that. He looks like a homeless Sam Witwer.
Yeah, no, I felt the exact same way, and I kept looking for the audio cues because it just sounds. It seems to be a different voice actor, but hey, maybe Sam Witwer's doing it. We don't know yet, but we hopefully we'll find out something really, really soon. So next up, we had a trailer from Monster Hunter World, which initially it didn't really say what this game was. It just shows you a trailer of you walking around and hunting things. And then, eventually you find the Rathalos, which is the infamous monster from the Monster Hunter games. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it shows a lot of things that Monster Hunter fans are familiar with. Not a whole lot brand new. This game should be coming out in 2018.
Yeah, but just the fact that it's coming to, a major console now is probably worth noting. Because, man, this is, it's been out, I think, before then. It's just on the Wii? Maybe the Wii U?
The biggest console's ever been on was the Wii. I don't know if it was ever on the Wii U itself. I can't confirm that right now. Yeah, and it's mostly been Nintendo for a long time. They used to be on the PSP. Yeah, the games used to be on the PSP, but it seemed that, of course, that Nintendo handhelds were given more business, and they were focused on them for a while. So to be back on a big console like this is going to be really happy for Monster Hunter fans.
Yeah. I've always been Monster Hunter curious. This may push me over the edge.
Yeah, it's a very interesting type. It's an interesting game where the goal isn't always to kill a monster. You want to do a lot of different things. Then you have classes and how exactly you want to approach it. So it's a really cool co-op game of you trying to hunt the map, searching for this one creature. Yeah, yeah, and there's a lot of loot. It's a very loot heavy game. So raids happen frequently. Yeah, I have a little bit of experience with it. I'm okay. I'm ambivalent to the franchise, but I do think it's interesting enough.
Cool.
Yeah. So next up, and this was a shocker. Yeah, Shadow of the Colossus has apparently been announced, and looks like it'll be a reboot or it doesn't seem to be a remaster. It seems they're remaking the game for the PS4.
That's bizarre.
That is strange.
Yeah.
I'm just curious why that specific game. I understand that Shadow of the Colossus is a classic. It's a game that I love very dearly. Yeah. But it just seems like an interesting choice, not choosing maybe Eco to get that same treatment. Or is there going to be any new content to it? Because there was the HD remaster, which came out a few years ago. Yeah. Which is essentially the same game. So I don't know if they're going to change some of the designs of the monsters or how those battles work, which I think would be unfortunate.
I mean, I doubt it. I mean, Bluepoint is doing it, and they usually just do the ports and slight remasters. I don't know. Graphically, it kind of felt like it was halfway between a remaster and a remake. It wasn't quite either.
Yeah, I kind of felt that way too, because it looked like it was up-resed, and I wasn't really able to tell. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm confident in Bluepoint. They always make really good ports.
Yeah.
I also believe they fixed the Zone of the Enders port, which is infamously ran at 30 frames.
Okay.
And they were called in to jack it up to 60. Yeah. So, hey. Yeah. And that should be coming sometime 2018.
Cool.
Yeah. Next up, we got a quick little story trailer for Marvel's Capcom Infinite. And it shows you the villain Ultron Sigma and how the various Marvel and Capcom characters have to team up together, and with Thanos of all people. And the quick characters that some we didn't know were in the game before. So you saw Arthur from Ghosts and Goblins, Dante from Devil May Cry series, and Black Panther, who I don't know if he's actually in the base game. Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy as well. And yeah, so in this game, it should be coming out, or will be coming out September 19th. They also announced that there's a story mode, the story demo out right now.
Yeah.
So if you want to go play, get a quick tease, you can just take a quick look. I don't really know how to feel about this game because some of the graphical stuff looks a little weird. Like the art style is very strange to me. Mm-hmm. I thought it was going to be just a rehash of Marvel's Capcom 3, but it's something a little different.
Yeah, but I feel like it's just in the same wheelhouse at least.
Yeah. So Dragon Ball Z kind of broke me. So when this thing came out, I wasn't. You gotta do a lot to impress me. But yeah, I'm still willing to see what will happen on September 19th for this game. Yeah, next up, they showed a trailer for Call of Duty World War II. It's a quick multiplayer trailer. All the various maps and the parts of the campaigns that you'll be going into. Yeah, and and Call of Duty World War II is coming out November 3rd. Next up, Elder Scrolls V Skyrim VR was announced for the PlayStation VR. And it just showed some gameplay. Not really much to say here.
They're milking the shit out of Skyrim, man.
Yeah, no, like they really trying to get the Skyrim money. I'm so surprised. I know Elder Scrolls is big for them, but never to this extent.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they really feel like they want to make this. I don't really know anything else to compare this to. Because it doesn't seem like the whole franchise. It really just seems like one iteration of it. But hey.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, next up, this is pretty much a VR showcase for the next few games. So we have Star Child. We have The Impatient announced here, which seems to be some kind of prison type game in VR. It takes place in a mental facility, possibly. Bravo Team, which is some type of VR shooter. And Final Fantasy 15 Monster of the Deep, a fishing VR game.
I swear to God, I think I tuned in as this was happening. I'm like, are they bringing back real fishing? What's going on here?
It's a very interesting choice because fishing is a weird game in Final Fantasy 15 where it's prominent enough. This is one of the character's main hobbies, but the actual game itself isn't that impressive. It's fine. It's a pretty good fishing game.
Okay.
So I'm a bit surprised. I wonder how many people are going to just double dip in the Final Fantasy 15 bowl just to fish, but okay. Moving on, we have Moss, which seems to be some type of warrior mouse adventure game.
Dope.
And out of VR, they showed off God of War, a nice little gameplay trailer of God of War. And you see Kratos and his son traveling around and fighting, these Norse mythology beings. And at the end, you see a serpent, which will help out Thor, not Thor, Kratos.
Uh-huh.
The serpent is an important part of like Norse mythology. Only knows so much. So it's kind of interesting. And they show you some gameplay stuff or some puzzles. The gameplay seems a bit, very different from what we know from God of War. We've known this since the last trailer, but it goes a little more in depth.
Yeah, it was kind of cool to see him like dynamically switch between this new shield thing that he has.
Yeah.
And then just seamlessly going from like the shield and then summoning the axe to his hand like mid combo, and that stuff looks cool. So I'm very curious what happens with this game. But so far I'm all aboard because I don't know, God of War 3 was like whatever. I really liked God of War 2. It was probably the best in the franchise, and the fact that Cory Barlog is back directing is very exciting for me.
I mean, as a man, I've beaten God of War 1 3 times. But I've never played any of the other games.
Oh man,
yeah, I've heard great things. And the thing that makes me so curious about this is a nuanced take on Kratos,
he's not just the fucking perpetual rage monster that he's been in the past games. So there's some like actual character depth. It seems like so that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who there's times where he's screaming and the way he speaks is so like loud and like boisterous that it's almost comical. How he's trying to speak normal lines. So, yeah, I just kind of like the smaller, like realistic take on it. And I'm really curious what happens.
Yeah.
And it just should be coming out early 2018.
I hope so.
Yeah. And next up, we have Detroit Become Human, the next title from video game Auteur, David Cage. And
that's a little generous, but okay.
I chose that word on purpose. It's fine. Yeah, it shows you lead an android called Marcus who seems to want to start a revolt or a revolution for androids. It seems interesting. We did see a lot of gameplay. It shows you like many of the Quantic Dream games that there's a lot of free choice that could be done to alter the story.
Yeah.
So it looks okay. Personally, as a guy, I've played a few David Cage games. Mm-hmm. I know this is going to shit the bed at some point. I'm going to say that they all do. Heavy Rain is okay. Heavy Rain is okay, even though it has some issues. It has some issues to me, but this looks really cool. It looks visually interesting, like to me more than any other game he's done so far, even beyond Two Souls.
Yeah.
So hopefully there's a more gameplay aspect of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I enjoy the David Cage games, even though, like, for the most part, they're not super great, but they do very interesting things, and there's nothing like it so far in video games. So I enjoy playing those David Cage games, and so far, there's no, like, real jank that I've seen so far in this game, but it's still early, but I don't know. I also thought it was cool that they had Jesse Williams as that guy. Yeah,
that was, like, very surprising, because I thought they were... I thought that he would be a side character just because he had other character talking so much. Yeah.
Well,
so,
I could also see that there may be multiple characters that you play as in this game.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, it looks cool. I want to see a little bit more. I definitely want to see how the gameplay works in there. And yeah, we'll find out hopefully later this year. And then next up, we had a trailer for Destiny 2. Doesn't really say much new.
Yeah, they didn't show much new.
Yeah. So this is the point where at the conference that Sean Layden comes out, and he also promotes PS4 and Vita as big platforms they're pushing.
And I'm said the word Vita on stage? What?
Yeah, I'm going to leave that right there. We're not going to really go into it. But it perked my ears up, definitely.
Uh-huh.
And he thanked everyone and left us with the final trailer of the day, which is Spider-Man by Insomniac Games.
Uh-huh.
I think the game looks really impressive. It shows like a really cool like skyscraper mission where Spider-Man seems to be taking out some gang members who seem to have superpowers, and they're related to maybe a rival gang of Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin. Mm-hmm. And there's a huge set piece of Spider-Man chasing a helicopter.
So, well, hold on. Let's rewind because I want to go a little in depth on this.
Let's go. I want to talk about this.
Yeah, I've been excited for Spider-Man because there hasn't really been a good Spider-Man game, at least to me. I haven't played them all anyway, but since Spider-Man, the movie 2, that web swinging was so good. And,
we got to break this down. Okay, yes.
But so the trailer starts out, you get into this skyscraper, but I couldn't help but like, okay, this is just Batman. We're doing Batman Arkham Asylum stuff here.
Yeah, it's just Arkham, and that's like the thing that's a bit disappointing.
Uh-huh.
Because it's not just Arkham, well, just traversing, because it seems the beginning is like those Predator missions in Arkham where you're stalking your prey.
Yeah, and you highlight like a steel beam or something to swing to, and you just, press R1 or whatever to go over there, or if there's a guy walking below you, you can do like a whatever, the inverted takedown, or the inverted takedown equivalent in this game where you just ties them up in a web. Yeah,
I mean, the next up, like, we were able to save someone and get into the combat. And the combat, just like you said before, is very Arkham-inspired. But what was confusing to me is the times where the spider sense would appear. Like, he would activate it and then shoot them with a web blast. But it seemed very slow. It seemed to take away from the combat a little bit to me. It just seemed... No, I mean, I don't know how it will be implemented, like, how it feels. But just when it popped up, I was like, okay, this seems... It's obviously Arkham-based. I assume it'll be same controls, but to me, the Spider Sense part kind of slowed the game down just a bit. I understand that's how Spider Sense works, but
I don't know that. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was like automatically slowing down for you. I assume this like you triggered something to do that. But yeah, it's that's my assumption. We don't have no idea because we haven't played the game, obviously. But because there was times where he was doing like these slow mo takedowns, like as someone was trying to shoot at Spidey and just like web him up.
Yeah,
and then continue his combo.
Yeah, and there's some cool stuff that not even an Arkham game has. Like when you interact with the environment, where there was a part where Spider-Man took the steel beam and spun it around and hit 3 guys.
Well, you could do some of that in Arkham. Like there's some things you could like interact with, like I think generators and stuff you can do with the electronic hacking device to shoot off some sparks and take down people that way.
Yeah, no, I agree on that aspect, which is fair. But it also seemed I wanted. I guess too early because that's the only really big part they showed. I want to see the variety of that. Does that only happen in that specific mission? Yeah. Because we have to say that this whole part of the game seems to be one specific mission on the rooftops of a construction site.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know if that's in the whole game yet, but it's kind of early. Mm-hmm. And then this is the part where this is pretty much the big set piece where you have to chase the villain in a helicopter while a crane is falling, and Spider-Man is running up, and it's pretty much a QTE event of him like webbing up the crane.
Yeah, just wait for the circle to shrink to the size of the button, and then you press the button at the right time, and he webs that thing up.
I was a bit disappointed because I thought, like, I understand that's how video games work, but I thought that was going to be in real time, which I thought would have been insane.
Yeah,
that if you could web up a crane in real time, I said that this might be one of the greatest video game feats ever. But no, it was still very impressive. And then you're chasing.
Okay. Well,
yeah,
okay.
we gotta get here.
I need because as he's running up the crane and then he webs it up, it seamlessly transitions into the web swing, and then I literally got goosebumps. I was like, oh man, this feels so good. Just the way the camera was following Spidey and the way it looked like it felt. Man, it looked like they nailed the web swinging.
Can I ask you, because I thought the first time I watched it, I thought that the web swinging was a bit slower than I expected.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit like the speed. It didn't seem much different than his running speed. I don't know why. I mean, yeah. So to me, it seemed a bit slow. Maybe because I played a recent Spider-Man game where it was swinging fast. That could be different, just an opinion of my thought process. But how did you feel about the swinging per se?
I felt great about it. Like I fucking had goosebumps just watching it. I had to rewind and watch it all over again because that was perfect. I loved it. Granted, I haven't played a Spider-Man game in years, maybe 10 plus years. But man, that looked like it felt right to me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, just based on that, if they can just do the web swinging justice, I'm all in. I wasn't super happy about some of the dialogue, the banter. I don't know, just necessarily the writing or the voice acting, but it wasn't to my expectations. Mm-hmm. But at least for my reasons, it's serviceable. It'll work.
Yeah, I'm still day one on this game, even despite some of the criticisms I have of it. But I do think it seems to be very cool. It feels right. It looks like it feels right. We don't know until we actually touch it.
Yeah,
and we didn't really talk about the free running aspect of it, like how he goes between swinging and free running at the same time, which I thought was really, really cool, not janky. Even Spider-Man 2 had that issue where you couldn't really run on walls, or because if you hit a wall, then you kind of have to stop. So it looks honestly really awesome. Can't wait to see more of this.
Yeah,
and that was pretty much it.
Well, I want to ask you about how you felt about the end of that trailer.
Oh, I am forgetting this. I remember it's a helicopter fight.
There's Mr. Morales shows up.
Oh yeah, that was interesting. Okay, thank you for reminding me. I remember watching it, and then it kind of took me for a loop. Mm-hmm. And how does this work? Do they both exist here? Or I'm very curious on how we're going to meld Spider-Man in here. That's kind of where I'm at. I don't really have a great reaction to it.
Okay.
I'm just honestly super curious because I know there's never really been a game. It's like, we're going to have two Spider-Men here? Or we're going to have multiple Spider-Men? Like, what's going on? I don't know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, that's how right now, still day one, really want to check this out. I want to see some ground gameplay. I want to see a little more of, I get in the world of New York City. But yeah. And with that pretty much ended the Sony conference. It was under an hour, or right over an hour. And we could just move on to the Nintendo conference, which is a bit odd because, as you can speak about some of these things, some of these news came out before the conference even started.
Yeah. It was fine. So as they call it, it's their Nintendo Spotlight for E3 2017. One of the things they showed off was a trailer for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you, but I watched this trailer and I got some heavy Kingdom Hearts vibes from this thing. I don't know, just I don't know, story stuff and swords, and it was anime as hell.
Yeah, it's pretty anime. It's par for the course for me, so I don't really I didn't even see anything that really stood out to me. Yeah. But it was cool. It was real cool.
Yeah, and that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is coming out on the Nintendo Switch in holiday 2017. Then they showed off some, I'm sure, which are just like temporary names, but they showed off a new Kirby game, simply called Kirby for now. I don't know. There's just more Kirbys and multiple Kirbys, and that's coming out on Switch in 2018. They... speaking to what we said about earlier about the Pokemon Direct, they had somebody show up from the Pokemon team saying like, hey guys, we're actually making a full-on Pokemon game for the Nintendo Switch. I've got nothing to show you, but I'm just telling you, just so you know, for your info. And yeah, okay. I'm hoping that's still Stars or something similar to that, but...
I'm so confused in how this is working now. Mm-hmm. Where you have Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which... apparently, it seems to be we'll be getting Switch versions at some point. And then you have this game, which is maybe related, may not be related.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume, I don't know, it could be the Pokemon Stars that we know about, which would make sense as the third title in the franchise, but this current iteration of Pokemon. But I don't know. I know it's coming out it's more than a year out. We don't really know too much yet.
Yeah.
So, kind of whatever.
It's bizarre, but that's Nintendo. I guess we should be used to it by now. They also showed off a teaser, like literally just the name. Metroid Prime 4 is apparently a game that exists.
Yep.
No other information was given, no release window, no platform. I assume it's for the Switch, but yeah, nothing else we know other than the name. And actually, it's not being developed by Retro Studios. I can confirm that. We don't know who's developing because they haven't said yet. I don't know if it's an internal studio or somebody else that they hired, but it's not Retro. Also, a tentatively titled game called Yoshi, which pretty much looks like Paper Mario because there's some cardboard layout stuff with the levels, but it's another Yoshi game. Sort of in the vein of Woolly World a little bit. It's got similar art style. Yoshi's a little furry and fuzzy. Then we also got Fire Emblem Warriors, which they announced on a Fire Emblem Direct a while ago. They showed off some stuff for there. There's a trailer showcasing that. And Fire Emblem Warriors is coming out to the Switch in fall of 2017. They showed off some trailers for the new or the upcoming Breath of the Wild DLC. They also announced that there's going to be more amiibos for the 4 champions in the story of Breath of the Wild. So that will correlate also with the Champions DLC that's going to be coming out later this year in holiday 2017. But there's also that other, I forget what the first piece of DLC, but that's going to be coming out in like another month or two. Then they showed off some more Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. They announced that Rocket League is coming out to the Switch. That seems like a no-brainer. That is a pretty good get, if I say so myself. And it's also going to be coming with cross-play functionality with, I believe, Xbox One and PC. So that's going to be fucking dope. I wonder how technically that port will hold up. If you can get 60 frames a second or if it's at least stable. Mm-hmm. And then finally, they showed off a gameplay trailer for Super Mario Odyssey, which looks bananas. It's they're going deep into this hat theme. So apparently you can throw the hat onto pretty much any enemy, and then Mario becomes that enemy.
Yeah, that's bananas. Awesome, dude. That's weird. Like you have this Kirby effect in a Mario game.
Like it's not even enemies too. It's like sometimes it's inanimate objects. Like there's one point in the trailer where I think Mario became a taxi cab in New Donk City. I was like, okay. And then it opens up, of course, and he's actually a T-Rex, like a realistic-looking T-Rex dinosaur, and it's wearing the Mario hat, and you're controlling that. It's like, what? Oh, this is bananas.
Yeah, this game looks awesome. This game looks so good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's even stuff that I know it's not even. I don't think it's just in the trailer, but I saw it on the floor. Just how, like, Mario can become a 2D character on a wall, like
with like the old school like sprites from like Super Mario Brothers, the original.
Yeah, which is real cool. So I mean, this game looks awesome, and I want to see more. I want to play this game. That's it.
Well, you can this year, October 27th. They're sticking with that date. Hopefully, they nail that date and there's no delay. But yeah, that will actually do it for Nintendo. But I know you and I were discussing this other event that happened. Devolver Digital they sort of had a press conference thing. Do you want to go into what happened there?
I'll hint at it a bit because I really think people should check this out. This video, I don't think it's longer than 15 minutes, maybe 17 minutes, depending on which one you find. But yeah, Devolver Digital had this conference, if you want to call it that, where they seem to have hired actors to play a skit, and it seems maybe some type of parody of what a conference is. There's a lot here. I don't want to really ruin like a lot of what this is, but someone told me that it's basically if Eric Andre had his choice of making a press conference.
Yeah, and
this is the infamous. On Devolver Digital's like Twitter, someone said, "Hey, is there a way that Devolver could have a worse conference than all the other companies combined?" And it retweets that saying, "Hold my beer." And there's a lot going on here. I like, it's basically a giant cartoon. There's some gaming personalities here. It's kind of a mess, but it's a wonderful mess.
Yeah, not safe for work, by the way.
Yo, no. Please do not watch this at work. This is crazy. Yeah. So if you got some time, just check it out. Even if you're not a fan of, if you haven't really followed Devolver, it's not really important here.
Yeah,
it's just to have a good time.
Yeah, I loved it for like the biting commentary on and the satire of like all these different conferences and the stuff that happens in them, and it's very good. It's very well done.
Yeah, like it hits all the right. If you've seen conferences, if you've seen E3 before, it hits all of that. Perfect notes, just perfect.
Yep.
It blows up the absurdity of how serious these things can be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Quite literally.
And I won't say any more.
Oh, yeah. But that'll wrap it up for all the E3 press conferences and stuff.
Yeah, Alex, I mean, I want to ask you this. I know we didn't talk about this before, but is there anything is there any specific game that really stood out to you this year from the conferences alone?
Anthem was the standout for me. I knew nothing about that game. I knew BioWare Edmonton was working on something. I didn't know what that was, but just seeing it and the fact that it's got the BioWare name on it, and it seems like it's the BioWare A-team as well, it definitely has my interest peaked. So I'm a big Destiny head, and it's scratching a lot of those same itches. So I that could be a very Alex game.
Fantastic, man.
Yeah. How about you? Anything else that either you were surprised about, or that you walking away from seeing all these press conferences that you just need to have?
I mean, Dragon Ball is kind of the one. I feel that was just such a shock. I mean, we've known about it beforehand, but you had lowered expectations. You can go into it and you see that there's a lot going on here. It's very interesting, visually stylistic. It's awesome. Yeah. And other than that, Wolfenstein is kind of the same. I guess a Days Out, it was probably the most interesting thing there that I really want to check out. Yeah. Like that game just seems interesting. I love Brothers so much. Mm-hmm. I haven't really talked about it much. I just thought that was such an interesting concept of a game. So for them to keep building up on that, I just want to see how that works out.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
But all right. So now with the press conferences out of the way, we all know that there's always like news still spilling out of E3 because it's just insanity. It's just, that never stops. It never stops. The first thing we want to discuss is that Sony, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but they've been, with Microsoft going out of their way to introduce and support backwards compatibility, Sony's kind of been sticking their foot in their mouth and sticking with their story of like, hey, you don't want to do backwards compatibility. I don't know who it was, but there was a quote going around, or somebody was interviewed from Sony basically saying that like, oh, all those old games, they look terrible. Who wants to play them? And it's like, oh man, that's just so like out of touch with like. It happens to be the same person who interviewed. Yeah, Jim Ryan is the same person who interviewed here. Yes. Okay, so yeah, we have an interview here, or a brief exchange here from Eurogamer, where they talk to Jim Ryan about mainly about cross-platform gameplay between like Switch, Xbox, and PC, because there are games coming out that do support some level of crossplay. Like Rocket League, for example, is going to be cross-play compatible between Switch, Xbox, and PC. But for some reason, PlayStation is not in on the action there, and they were asking them why, and they weren't getting satisfactory answers from Mr. Ryan representing Sony. So I was like, oh man, it's just a very tone-deaf response, I feel, from Sony. And it's crazy kind of how fast the shoe switched from like Microsoft to Sony, because Microsoft started off this generation doing similar things. There was a whole brouhaha about used games and not being able to trade games between friends and all that. And Sony was on the right side of history, so to speak. And now, again, everything's been flipped around, and now Sony's the bad guy again. It's weird.
Yeah, I think the wording here is just so interesting.
Uh-huh.
Where, like, there's a specific quote, a line that I have to say, where Jim Ryan goes, exposing what in many cases are children to external influences we have no ability to manage or look after is something we have to think about very carefully. So the spin here is that they don't want to expose children to other bad influences, that being cross-platform play.
Uh-huh. Which Nintendo's on board with, and Eurogamer points that out, and Nintendo's notorious for, like, you know, putting in these like walls on their online systems just to prevent stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know, it's bizarre.
Yeah, there's one line here which kind of hints at what the problem is, stating that it's a commercial discussion between them and the stakeholders. So it seems that it's not that Sony doesn't want to do it, it's that they can't. Yeah. That the stakeholders may be blocking them from doing that. It's probably just to make sure that people play PlayStation only and not get the idea of buying another system or playing another one. So I get the idea of that, but that's still reductive. It's one of the more reductive things Sony has done in quite a long time.
Yeah.
This is the old Nintendo model. Like, this is what Nintendo was known for. It's very interesting. They do state that if the card's in line, that they will look into it. If they get into discussions, that they'll think about it.
Uh-huh. That sounds like bullshit.
No, I don't think it's optimistic. I feel like that's it's just company speak. Yeah. And it is another line here where even Jim Ryan's like, I know, I can see your eyes rolling. Like, I can see it. Like, I know this sounds like bullshit. Like, I know it does, but that's the answer I'm giving you. So yeah, I mean, I feel like that's so reductive. Hopefully Sony gets to change that in the future. Hopefully stakeholders have a different idea, but who knows? You know, it's like everything, we just have to wait and see if this happens.
That's bullshit. It's all bullshit. it's man, yeah, it's a shame. Yeah, because it seems like Sony so soon already forgot how it was to be the underdog, because they started off like 2 or 3 years ago as the underdog coming into this generation. Now they're got this cocky attitude again. It's like, God damn it, when the fuck you gonna learn? Yeah. But anyway, there's a whole bunch of other stuff. We got a few more things I want to get through real quick. Outside of their Nintendo spotlight, Nintendo announced that there's going to be another Metroid game in addition to Metroid Prime 4. But this one has way more information, and actually I believe has a date for release as well. But Metroid Samus Returns is coming out for the 3DS, and this is going to be, I guess, their take on, or their reimagining of Metroid 2 for the original Game Boy. So yeah, this looks fucking great. Dude, I was watching gameplay. This is amazing. Yeah. I think this is because I'm a big Metroidvania fan. Metroid and Castlevania are some of my favorite games. So this kind of sneak stealth announcement is quite interesting. This comes out. It's funny about the timing, because I don't know if you recall earlier this year we talked about AM2R, another Metroid 2 remake. Yep. That got a quick C&D and got stripped from the internet from the main website. But if you search hard enough, really like 5 minutes, you can get it. You can get it. Yeah. It's not hard. It's not hard to find this thing. So it's interesting that happened. At the time, a lot of us just thought it's a normal C&D, nothing special. But it seems that there was a real reason, that it was in conflict of this game that they were already working on. Right. Yeah. I mean, this game looks awesome. It looks really cool. Hopefully, I will let you get my hands on it. If this could start the trend of more, 2D, 2.5D, if you will, Metroid games again, this is going to be awesome. And yeah, like just the gameplay, it looks like a classic. I've played Metroid 2 a little bit, and this seems to play closer to what you're familiar with if you play Super Metroid.
So yeah, just really cool overall. Some brand new features. I'm super excited. I want to get this as soon as it comes out.
Yeah, I love the way it looks. They're using like 3D models, but it's still like a 2D game, just with those 3D polygonal graphics, which they sometimes utilize just to like move the camera around for like cutscenes and things like that. I thought it was crazy that like Samus has a melee counter, like she can just like straight up like parry fucking fools. I'm like, what? This is insane. Yeah, they're taking the Metroid stuff to the next level. I'm so happy. Like I thought Nintendo had like forgotten about Metroid, but now it seems like they're doing very interesting things with the franchise. So that's very cool. But thankfully, we don't have to wait much longer because this is coming out in September 15th for the 3DS. So definitely look forward to that. And again, you can check out the links we have for this to check out the trailers and a whole bunch of information. There's going to be special editions for this thing, and there's going to be actually Metroid amiibos. It's going to be a Metroid amiibo, like an actual Metroid. You can get in amiibo form, so that's fucking dope. Next up, we've got, I know you were excited for this, and we kind of discussed this we discussed this a while ago because it had, thanks to some data miners, this information got out, but Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, the remake is coming to 3DS. It's official. The full title is Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions. So it seems like they're adding on this Bowser's Minions minigame, which, at least in this article, is kind of described almost like a different campaign.
Right.
It's like this side strategy thing that you can do, and it seems much more bigger in scope than like a minigame. But this remake is coming out October 6th. They're taking the original graphics and maybe tidying them up just a little bit, but it still has that original flavor of the original Superstar Saga. But what do you think about this so far, man, from what you've seen?
Looks great. It looks like they changed a few angles, like camera angles from the first game. Mm-hmm. Like they might have redid a few scenes just due to the animation. I'm surprised that it's mostly the same game with a different. They basically put a lighting filter on it to make it look cleaned up, which is really cool. But the Bowser's Minions thing is the most interesting thing to me because I thought, like you, this is an extra mini game tacked on. Yeah. But if this seems to be just another like a side campaign to go along with the story. So I wonder how far this goes. It makes a lot of sense because since the first Superstar Saga game is a lengthy adventure, that it is shorter than every single one that's come after it.
Yeah.
And all those games had maybe touch iterations and different mini games that added to it to increase the gameplay length. But hopefully this looks like something different. The mainline Superstar Saga game I think is untouchable. I think it's a very solid RPG. There's nothing wrong with that game. It's some of the best humor I've ever heard in a video game.
Okay.
So I just like as long as that seems to not be being touched at all, like storyline wise, I think it's going to be a fantastic release.
Yeah, I hope so too. But yeah, again, that's coming out in October, so don't have to wait too long for that. Also, briefly, I want to touch on Destiny 2. There was some news going around that the PC version of Destiny 2 is not going to launch day and day with the console versions. We just didn't know what the time difference was going to be. So interestingly enough, the console release actually got bumped up. So a reverse delay. Now PS4 and Xbox One versions of Destiny 2 are coming out on September 6th. But unfortunately, the PC version is going to be coming out in October, late October, actually, like I think the 24th. But yeah, that's a shame. I was hoping it would be no longer than a month, but it's about that. I don't know. It's a long time. It's like a month and a half or so between the PC version and the console. So I think my main concern is like how they're going to handle the raid. Because at least in the past, they usually like hold off like at least a month to launch the raid. But if the PC version is going to be held back like a month, you're going to need to give those players time to gear up to do the raid. I don't know. It's going to be a bad situation, I think, if those things don't happen at the same time. But I don't know. Remains to be seen. But they also announced news on the upcoming betas. There's going to be a PS4 beta on July 18th, and then Xbox One players will be able to play the beta on July 19th. That's if you pre-order. PC players will also be able to beta in August. But I think later on, like maybe a few days after those console betas, they will open up the beta to everybody, not just people who did pre-order. But That's something to look forward to if you're into Destiny like I am, because I'm going to be fucking pre-ordering that shit. And then finally, in news and all the crazy E3 nonsense, Metal Gear Survive has been delayed to 2018.
Oh no.
Yes, woe is us, because everyone was so looking forward to this follow-up to the storied Metal Gear franchise, which is no longer being helmed by Hideo Kojima because he was given the boot. Because Konami, I don't know what Konami is doing, but they're still making games, because this is one of them. But yeah, that's pretty much all we're going to say about that. And that, I think, will do it for E3. The craziness. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more information that comes out.
Seriously.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll follow up then. And I know Frank is going to rub our faces in the fact that he was there and he's rubbing elbows with all these gaming luminaries and all this stuff. I'm just like bracing myself.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see. We'll see, man.
So I don't know. Do you have any other final thoughts on this year's E3?
I think some of the conferences were, I didn't know what to expect from some of them. I mean, Microsoft surprised me. Sony disappointed me. I think there's some really interesting stuff in there. I'm very surprised by the Nintendo announcements, especially the Metroid one. It's probably the biggest thing that's come out so far. Like the biggest shocker. Like I would have never thought another Metroid game was coming out again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. So I mean, overall, it seems great. There's so many things that we haven't even discussed that's not even relevant to this. Like, for example, there's a Yakuza 6 trailer out.
Oh, that
I haven't even seen. You know it's bad when I haven't even checked it out. Like, it's crazy right now. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I'm just waiting for, like, there's going to be some more news that comes out. I just can't wait to hear, like, what's going to happen this week.
Yep, I hear you. Yeah, there's been a lot, but yeah, I don't know, like just the weird vibe I've been getting from these press conferences, especially like the way Sony handled theirs, is like, do they even need to hold a press conference? Why don't they just go the Nintendo route and like preload this video package and just stream it on the internet without having this like physical presence anymore? Yeah,
I have a theory that the idea is that Microsoft is famous for doing these conferences that have stuff that gamers don't like. And Sony, it's not that Sony doesn't do it either, but last year gave too much goodwill to Sony because a bunch of like Shenmue and Final Fantasy VII got announced. Like it's like a rare occasion.
That was 2 years ago though, but
it's 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. It's fine. But I feel like they've had a little too much goodwill and got a bit cocky, or maybe. Yeah. So you can see. Oh, actually, we didn't talk about it. They announced PlayStation Experience right before the conference, which is a bit strange.
I mean, it was bound to happen.
I understand it has to happen, but I know PlayStation Experience is the PlayStation conference because it feels like that's their E3 because they talk about everything and all things there. So I don't know. I did feel a bit weird. I felt weird this year about them. EA is about what I expected, really, and the others are so. But yeah, I overall thought it was okay. Not a lot of stuff coming out this year. I mean, that's the biggest takeaway. That there's not a lot of stuff coming out this year. Like a lot of these big name releases are coming out next year.
Yeah.
Which is a bit disappointing. Typical. Yeah, I guess so. But, sometimes you expect as soon as you leave, the conference is out. Or it'll be out in 3 days. Or it'll be out in a week and all that stuff. But, I mean, you can't really, beggars can't be choosers. And what we got, I think, is really interesting. It's good to look for the future. And I really can't wait to try some of these things as soon as they come out. Hopefully some of these things actually come out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, we've said it so much that at this point it gets redundant, but we really do have to wait just to know what's coming on.
Yeah. So, I'm just going to sit on my hands and wait till I could shoot some webs and, swing around the city because, man, that's going to be fucking amazing.
Or spectacular. Or sensational.
There you go. However you want to put it is gonna be dope. But yeah, I don't know. The main thing I'm very curious about is how this whole consumerification of the event goes for E3. If they can continue to survive using this PAX model. So
I don't know if you've seen some of the images. I know Frank will speak about it when he comes back next week. but it looks packed in there. It looks really, really tight. That they have never experienced something like this, and some of the booth sizes have changed, which makes some areas harder to traverse around. Yeah, I hope it's a success. If it is, does it still need to stay in the same hall? That remains to be seen. Because if it's not big enough, things have to change. But again, it's too early to say. We'll find this out like probably in the next couple of weeks or so.
I mean, if anything, they haven't used Kensha Hall in years. Maybe they can just I don't know. Actually, I don't know if that exists anymore. I don't know if they annex that out or something, but who knows? Like, I'm sure they've got plenty of space there. They haven't been using a lot of it recently, from my understanding.
Yeah.
But hopefully this breathes new life into the event and E3 continues to thrive. But yeah, I think with that we can end this episode. We can all go home and go to sleep and dream of video games to come, because it's gonna be a crazy rest of the year, and next year looks fantastic.
You're right.
But with that, I'm going to ask you guys listening at home, if you enjoy what you're listening to, definitely head over to our home at innercitygeeks.com. There you will find a full archive of all of our previous episodes, along with other cool things that we do on the site, all kinds of geeky stuff regarding video games, movies, comics, TV shows, all kinds of crazy stuff. So definitely go over there, innercitygeeks.com. While you're over there, there's going to be an Amazon banner on the right-hand side of the page that you'll see. That is our affiliate link for Amazon. So if you want to buy anything from there, definitely hit that link first to go to Amazon.com, and then just do your normal shopping from there. We get a little kickback from that, and that helps us bring more show to you guys. Also, I encourage everybody to, if you're listening to the show, you like it, definitely go out to wherever you're listening to the show, either on iTunes, Stitcher, even on YouTube. Leave a comment or leave a review for the show. That helps us out. That helps put more eyeballs on the show, and we can maybe grow a little bit more and do cooler stuff in the future. You can follow this show on social media. We're at Twitter at Good Game Podcast. Or if you've got feedback that doesn't fit in 140 characters, you can definitely send us an email as well. You can send that to the email address goodgamespodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to follow us two jokers individually on Twitter, you can do so where at Khalik?
You can find me on Twitter at Dorset90.
And if you want to follow me, you can follow me at AlexNZ. And you best believe we're going to be back next week with more video game stuff. Hopefully we get to some sort of normalcy again, because this particular episode has been crazy.
Yeah, it's been insane. And I don't think we even touched on half the stuff that's still coming out.
Yep. But definitely more to look forward to for sure. But with that, until next week, guys, good games.
Good games.